Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
Hey, what's going on, world? We are back with you for another week of the Success Journey Show. My name is Ricky Venters, and I'm here with my co-host, Marlon Madden. Marlon, what's good, bro? How you doing?
Man, you know what I say? I'm living the dream, man. I'm living the dream.
Yeah, sure.
After probably the next podcast after this, I could share the dream that I've been living, you know what I'm saying? So this will be the podcast that ushers in what I have to say about some stuff that I've been doing behind the scenes that everybody's like, oh man, behind the scenes again, huh?
Yeah. No, trust me, guys. You guys are going to be excited about it. Just hang on tight, man. We got some good news to share with you guys about the journey that we're on. Sitting here, my ear is itching. So it's man, I tell you, when my ear itching, something good is going to happen. No, that's
yeah. Hey, they say you're going to get money. Some people in the islands, they say if your ear is itching, your hands itching, you're going to get that money.
Something's coming, right? Something's coming. But yeah, dude, man, I'm excited for you, and you guys will see what all that excitement's about in our next episode when we release that. So listen, man, we're so glad to be back with you guys again for another week. We hope that you liked our last couple episodes. Man, we've been, meeting with a lot of these great people. We have more great people coming that's going to be a part of the show. It's just, man, me and Marlon get a front row seat into a lot of these people's lives and just hearing their story. And we want to bring that to you guys also. So, I don't know where you are right now. You could be in your car. You could be in your house. You can be outside. I don't know where you are right now. But, man, we're glad to be with you again for another week. And we're going to jump into our podcast today with our special guest. This guest is special to us. Someone from our hometown, our home area that we've both known for a few years. But before we get there, Marlon, man, I want you to share a little bit to all of our new listeners out there that are checking in from all over the world right now with us. Why don't you share with them where they can find more information about the Success Journey Show?
All right. TheSuccessJourneyShow.com. We made it easy. TheSuccessJourneyShow.com. If you go on there, that's our website, and you can get all the information about us. We are on all platforms when it comes to podcasting. So you could, if you find a platform where we're not there, give us a hit and we'll give you a shirt and definitely thank you for showing us that we're not there and put ourselves on there. Also, if you go to Instagram, you can see us on the Success Journey Show. If you go on that page, actually, there's a link tree. Hit that. You see all our different platforms where you can find us and everything. On Facebook also is Success Journey Show. On Twitter, Success_Show. And on YouTube, we are trying to grow YouTube. So go there, like, comment, subscribe. It's The Success Journey Show. Back to you, Ricky.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm sitting here talking to our people in the green room. Yo, we got a green room, y'all.
We got a green room.
And letting them know they're ready to jump in the show. But yeah, like Marlon said, man, you guys check us out on the Success Journey Show. .com, all of our platforms, all that good stuff, man. We're really trying to grow it. Our YouTube channel, trying to grow it. We got a lot of people are saying they like these live videos. Also, man, check us out, man. We have been asked to be guests on other podcasts as well. We were on the Growth podcast not too long ago. That was released. Check out our page. You can see some information about that. And then we also got some other requests coming up. So, man, a lot of things are going to be happening.
21 the net. We're on.
Oh, yes, man. We were requested to come back on the 21 the net. That is an online radio. Check us out there. You'll see our episodes on that platform. And not only our episodes, but there are a lot of other great sessions there. A lot of other people there that are sharing some great information, not just podcasts. Music, all that good stuff, man. So go and check them out, 21 the net, and enjoy our podcast from that platform as well. But without further ado, man, we're going to bring in our guest today. And our guest today is none other than Jeremy Stinnett.
Hey,
there we go.
Doing all right?
Yeah.
All right, ready. I'm ready for y'all. Oh shit! Right. You didn't send me a cam. What's that shirt say? Team something.
Oh, Dream Drive.
Yeah. a Dream Drive Discipline T-shirt, man.
We're sending all our guests on there. So after this, hit us up with your Addy. That's what the young boys say.
So you know you're old, right? When you use it. I talked to I have some interns, and I'm using words like swag, and they're like, so I know what that means, right? That don't mean something else today, right? So.
They say drip.
They're like,
shit.
Like, oh damn! I done violated some social responsibility phrase or something. I offended some group, some letter group. You know the letter groups.
Yeah. Exactly. You always gotta be careful, man. You never know. Yeah, never know, man. But Jeremy, man, we want to thank you so much for joining us today, man, on our show. Man, why don't you start off by just sharing us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive right into it from there.
Man, I never know where to start when people say share a little bit about yourself. Currently, I'm a principal of the lifestyle agency, founding partner, and that's like my core work is communications, advertising. A part of our work is business advising, helping brands that are emerging grow in the right way. And so to accompany this or to help us to do those things, we have an advising firm, and that advising firm focuses on wealth management, everything from entity formation, structure, all the way up to merger and acquisition, trust, estate planning, wealth management, asset protection, the whole nine. So, we're not down on Wall Street for no reason.
Yeah. Nah, love it. Man, I hear all these big words and all these different things, man, doing big things out there in Wall Street in New York. But I also have so many memories in the past, man, of Jeremy, man, and just us, being in the same area down there in Poughkeepsie. Why don't you go back a little ways, man? Tell us how, this whole journey, you're saying now you're the president of this organization, man, but when did that spark to be like, hey, I'm going to be a leader, I'm going to be an entrepreneur? Well, before entrepreneur was even a thing, no one was talking about entrepreneur.
I think I was an entrepreneur when entrepreneur wasn't a thing, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm an 80s baby, but I came to the States in the 90s, so
they call that between jobs. That's what they used to call that back then.
Right.
Yeah.
You ain't got no job, you're an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
Businessman.
But I've always been enterprising since I was a kid, man. I was one of those kids in middle school wearing a suit, and dress shoes, just because that's what it was about for us. It wasn't necessarily trying to be something else. But I grew up, newspaper, paper route. Like, most kids, in America did that, right? Paper route, shoveling the snow when, snowfall, shovel the neighbor's snow, $20, $10 for the old people, and, regular people, $20, $25. And after a while of doing that, you wanted more. You're like, all right, so how can I make more? And it was just a mindset of thinking, oh, paper route guy. All right, well, I think I was sharing when you guys asked the questions earlier about that aspect. And I was sharing that I found a way to help out the guy who was doing his other paper route. Because what happened is where I lived in Poughkeepsie, when it snowed, the people where we lived at, they didn't really want to pay much. Mm-hmm. So, by the hospital, like San Francisco Hospital, for anybody who knows that area, by Marist, it was a nicer neighborhood, and there were older people who own their homes, and they're not trying to go outside in the snow. You go over there, you can get $25 a pop, $30 if you're lucky. They got a big driveway. So I went over that area, and the guy who had a paper route, I actually asked him if I could, cover it for him. And I literally made more money on his tips than he got paid for his route. I made money on his tips, and then the people got to know me. So when it snowed, guess where I went?
Right over there.
Went over there. So, I was able to, I think I was enterprising from a kid, but, fast forwarding, middle school, we had a TV production. We were lucky to have a TV production, studio and course in our middle school. And so I think at 7th grade, you're allowed to go in there, man. 6th grade, when I saw it, blew my mind. And the guy, Mr. Cohen is his name, and Moresi, they were like, listen, you got to be a 7th grader. So literally when school was over, June 26th, the bell rang. I was like, I'm a 7th grader now. I'm knocking on the door, and, I started doing PSAs. I started learning how to do every job, from the camera person to the, audio guy to the learning lighting, learning production, learning the computer graphics, which everybody works towards being a director out front or the director inside, calling the boards, camera 1, camera 2, cut 2, fade 2.
Yeah.
And, the summers after that, 8th grade summers, I learned how to do what they call produce a lengthy feature, and they call it Poughkeepsie Video Magazine. So I started doing video productions. By the time I was 14, man, I had my own video company doing weddings, and I would get the wedding clients from the church. Good old Beulah Baptist Church, right? Everybody knows Beulah. And so I used to do sound for the church, and every time somebody would get married, I would be the one when they're doing rehearsals to go and do the sound, and I would start picking up clients. My pastor would, matter of fact, he would start to refer people to me when they come for counseling. They'd be like, oh, listen, we have in-house people. And it just, that speaks of community, right? It's important, as we grow, you have community. Exactly. And without the community, many of us wouldn't be where we are today anyway, right? So, with those kind of reinforcement and contributions, man, I excelled and I thrived, right? You had a chance to, people give you opportunities to do. And if you have the do in your heart, and there's nothing you can not do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, high school, started clubs, Caribbean Club, Unity Men's Club, all these kind of group stuff, and just continuing to just be that individual. I think most of us, when you listen to whatever your heart tells you, you actually walk in your calling, right? And I think I naturally just was that. I was a popular, kid in high school. I didn't know I was popular though until I got to graduation. So you cool at graduation when they're doing rehearsal and they cheering for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I didn't know I was cool until then. I was popular. You know what I mean? So graduation, high school, man. I got, just like everybody else was getting awards and scholarships, man. Scholarship night. I was, I got my scholarship to Marist and full ride, so to speak. A combination of grants and loans and tuition and funding and scholarships that they provided, MLK scholarship. And I also got recognition for the good things I did, right? So you're on your way when people recognize you for the work that you do.
Correct.
Yeah. So I got the Martin Luther King Jr. Award, earlier on. Then I got the Black Achievers Award from the church and just different things, man. I just grew in that, and all the values that I picked up growing up, it compounded. So out of high school, going into college, I was always doing TV productions. I was always doing events and community things and not-profit things. I was tutoring and volunteering with the kids for after-school programs. So all those things came together. So when I went to college, I majored in communications, and it was just a natural progression. And then once I realized, okay, communications is a big area, but I still want to do all of these things, right? I focused on advertising, and so that's how I got here. Now today, being in advertising, if I knew better, I would have been a PR major and then minored in advertising. But that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But that's how I got to that. And during college, the guys from my church, love music, was producing stuff. We had community choirs. Actually, that's how I met Marlon. Wasn't it? When you were in a community group or something?
Yeah. Me and Ricky used to sing together a lot too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I remember James Hassel and Terrence, those guys. Yeah. We had a record label together, and I learned about the music industry. Are you ready? Entertainment, baby.
Yeah.
And so I learned how to build a record from nothing. And just researching and talking to people in the industry and learning and interning for free. I used to, while in college, man, I used to get up at 2 a.m. I used to help the guy at Six Flags. I would get up at 2 a.m, drive to exit. I tell this story all the time. It's funny. When I'm doing my internship orientation, I tell the kids these stories because today these kids don't want to work for free. They want to intern, right? They want to learn. Yeah. So I would tell them, college, bro. When you're in college, you ramen life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll get up, put my little $20 gas in. It take $40 or whatever to fill the tank up, and just enough to get me to the man's house. Help to load his truck up, right? Leave my car at his house, drove with them to the truck, go to Six Flags. Six Flags was exit 7A, drove to exit 9, drove back to 7A, loaded out, unloaded, packed up, built 2 stages, worked the festival stage during the day, then the concert stage at night, right? That's how I got to work with Kirk, Hezekiah Walker, Tone, Israel Houghton, multiple times, Fred Hammond, just all these national artists. I remember Lift Every Voice with Gerard.
Yes.
All those guys, I learned how to work with them just volunteering, learning, right?
Yeah.
And so today, man, I could produce a concert, whether it's 1,000 people or 25,000 people in an arena, with my hands tied behind my back, man, knowing sound, production, marketing, promotions, events, all the things that goes into making it happen. And so that's what I do every day, today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's funny. The whole time you're talking about, and you know what? One thing that I want to vouch for you. I know you can do all those stuff, but I want to vouch for you one thing. I don't think I've ever seen you in jeans.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't think I've ever seen you in the jeans pants. No lie. Ever since I've known Jeremy, I was like, yo, this guy does not wear jeans. I was like, yo, this guy.
He's hilarious. I had me some Carl Canais back in the day, boy. Travel Fox, got my red Travel Fox. Remember that?
Yeah. You have to have a Travel Fox. If you don't have one, that's the kit right there.
That's it.
But I remember, man, Jeremy, because on the entrepreneur side, of course, I had the cab and everything like that. And I saw you doing your thing. At that time, we were popular in the sense of what people were like, man, I want to, those guys are doing some things. It was more like, what, man, Jeremy's always trying to get something out of this, or Jeremy's trying to do, nobody saw the vision.
Hustle, man. And, it's so crazy, man, that these words that our community use, right? And you don't know how you could have a negative affect on a person by using those words.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was crazy,
man.
Hustle, man, and all the, the Jamaican jig, all kinds of crazy stuff that they would call you. You on your way trying to do whatever your heart's calling you to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yo, man, I remember a time I met Jeremy more so when you were working with Hassel and Motley. And I remember they came out with their first album. Well, Terrence came out with his album. One of his first albums. And
of course.
Yeah. So Marlon had it, and this is back in the day when people were burning CDs, right? So I didn't have a CD player in the car, so I had a tape deck. So I was like, you know what? Let me go burn the CD from Marlon, and then I'm gonna play it on my car with my tape, right? So here's the thing, right? So Jeremy, I forget what it was, but I think after a rehearsal or something like that, I was driving. Jeremy, you may not even remember this, right? So Jeremy and Marlon, they rode with me. We're going somewhere. I forget where we were going, probably another event or whatever. And so I'm like, yeah, let me play this Terrence Motley CD on my tape. So Jeremy's in the back seat, and he's like looking around, man. He looks up at my deck like, you ain't got no CD player. I was like, nah, I don't got a CD player. He's like, yo, how you get this song, man? How you get this thing? What you doing? Ripping off my stuff. I was like, oh man, I'm sorry. And I was a little bit less seasoned than these guys. I call it that way. They're a little bit more seasoned than me in age. So I'm sitting there like, oh man, this is the big guy here, man. I'm sitting there, he's gonna do something. Man, you talking about scared, man? I was like, oh shoot, man, now Jeremy gonna tell Terrence I ripped the CD.
You know what I'm saying? You ripped off, stealing the music, man, and paying the royalties, now you being like the dudes on 125th Street on 8th Avenue, bro.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Hey, Jeremy, so when people hear you help somebody to go to that next level, especially generational wealth. Explain to people, because some people come and I have a job that pays me $150,000, but I don't have nothing. But I'm not disrespecting the man that have a job for $150,000. But he's saying that, I'm doing something for my family. Explain to that person how that $150,000 can turn into generational wealth, and what do they need to do in order to get to that generational wealth?
I mean, that's a good question. You know what I would do? I would even go a little lower, because I think what I do today, I dance in two worlds, right? The guy who has 150 is easy to work with because they have something to start with. Yes. What about the guy who just have an idea, or the girl that just have an idea, and she knows she can make, these days they making, I call them lotions and potions. They're making all kinds of hair thing. Matter of fact, my hair falling out. There's a girl tomorrow. She ain't got no money, but she guaranteed me her product will make my hair grow. So we
Hey,
we gonna find out. You know what I mean? We gonna find out.
Season, yeah.
But if you think about those people who have a gift, right, or they aspire to something, and you literally have to help those people because they got a dream, but they don't know where to go with it. They may do Instagram and y'all cash apping them stuff, and that stuff is cool and acceptable for a certain generation, but it doesn't mean that you're doing business. Mm-hmm. And I think that what's the most important before we get into making money and all that stuff is really understanding what the American capitalistic system is built on. And if you don't really understand that, it don't matter how much money you're making. Why? Because we all grew up in the hood or the neighborhood, whatever we want to say it. I'm not trying to say where you grew up, but we grew up in places where we've seen people who did certain street things and they had stacks.
Yep.
And the stacks didn't matter if it wasn't in the bank because you couldn't buy a house. When you bought a car, you didn't buy it from a dealership. You could buy it cash, but you wasn't buying it. You know what I'm saying? So how wonderful is life if your life isn't smooth, even if you got bread? Right? So I think that one of the most important things, you said if you want to help somebody is for them to understand what the core principles are. Like, okay, I need an entity. I need to make sure I go create an entity in any state you're in the United States.
Yeah.
I went to Jamaica, even in Jamaica, right? You can go and create a company, right? Mm-hmm. And that company, in New York, it's only, LLC, a limited liability corporation, is $200, right? Yeah. So don't buy coffee for a few weeks, save up your pennies. $10 was Starbucks, like $10 or something crazy, right? I don't drink that, man.
Yeah, for nasty coffee.
$10.
You see this right here? It's my coffee. Buy it in a package and bring it to the office, right? So, save your money. You know what I mean? But so don't buy Starbucks and save your money and get yourself a limited liability corporation. Yeah. And so that's the beginning, because what it does is it starts to get your mindset in a place where, okay, this is not me, this is my company. Yeah. And the company starts to become an individual. And that's some of the core things. So teaching people those core principles, man, the importance of creating an entity, protection, because those are core principles that's going to take you all the way to $1 billion, right? Yeah. You start talking about, selling to people. You need a merchant account. You need a way to collect money from people appropriately so that nobody can question how'd you get the money and whatever, and you can do what you want to do, right? So helping people understand in protection, entity formation, protection as in trademark. So you got a name, right? You guys got the slogan right there. If you guys decided that you want to the Success Journey Show, right? Success Journey Show TM, right? For trademark. And as you start to use it in commerce, right? Doing interviews, maybe buying some ads or placing ads, that's commerce. You're doing transactions with your company name. And then as you move through the point, you want to register that bad boy because now it has value.
Correct.
Right? Things like that. So you hear artists talking about music earlier, recording artists talking about licensing deals, right? So stuff that people know, like Pharrell, maybe you say Happy, that song, right? So you saw how he wrote the song, and if you hear him talk about it, he'll mention that, that song was whack. It wasn't a big deal. But what made it a big deal is that song turned into dollars, licensing dollars, right? So all of a sudden now you see a TV commercial and they singing church songs to Happy while they selling Ford. Well, somebody paid him a good chunk of money to place that on a television commercial, and that's licensing. Yeah. That's protecting your product. So if the Success Journey Show is doing well, and somebody can start to feature it on one of their shows in some other big arena where they monetize it, you can get a license agreement to license your interviews onto somebody else's show that has some value. You get what I'm saying? So protection. So from an entity to protecting, and then now you want to start making sure you're doing branding, making sure everybody knows about this name, and then that the product or service you sell, right, is associated with this name, and it has a value and it's good, and you should try it, you should buy it. Let's exchange money for my product, and it's good for you. Now you got money. Now you use transactions on a day-to-day basis, right? You in a budget to start practicing. What are your costs? How much income do you make? And what's the difference? And the difference of that is your profit.
Yeah,
course, right? So, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, how many of y'all got introduced to that book back in the day? My pastor was the first one that told me go out and buy me a copy of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? So, thank you, Jesse Bounds, right? So we learned about, what's important in the Rich Dad, Poor Dad thing is most poor people, right, whether they have a company or not, weren't taught financial literacy.
Correct.
So you're talking about getting to a place of financial success. I'm fast talking, but where we're going is you're trying to learn how to make more cash flow in than out. And so as you're doing your business, selling your products, the difference of what it costs to operate is what you use to start saving, right? Yeah. So you start doing cool things like, first thing is you can do is easy is a life insurance policy. So most people are like, why? I ain't trying to die. Nope. You're not trying to die. You're trying to live.
Yes. Yes. And whole life versus term, which one would you say for people to get, whole or term?
Well, because so now they call it permanent insurance. It's not whole life, right? Yeah. So it's permanent insurance instead of term life, right? Yeah. And so the idea is, that's what I said, you're not buying life insurance because you were preparing to die. You're buying life insurance because you're preparing to live. And it's probably the most affordable retirement plan for a person who's, quote, financially challenged, right? I'm not going to say poor, right? So you financially challenged because right now your money is circulating, right? So while you working on your circulation, so you can tap into the line and get it in your pocket, right? You squeeze off a little $200 a month and buy your $250,000 policy, right? $250,000, and that $250,000 policy, we call it IUL, allows you the privilege of growing cash value. So you have $250 death benefit just in case something bad happens. Fine. But so that's cool. That's long term. If someone dies, right? But you're gonna live. You're healthy. You're training. Mr. Madden, he's in the military. Congratulations on your promotion. You're doing big things, right? So you're gonna live, right? As a matter of fact, you stateside. You ain't doing nothing except for the terrorism that they got going on in DC right now. Right? So you're alive. So the beautiful thing about this situation is you're going to work on the cash value. So just like people who have regular jobs, they have like IRA accounts and some of those things. Correct. You can save up to $6,000 usually tax-free into those accounts. Well, guess what? IUL, Universal Life Insurance Policy, allows you to, we call it overfund, to put cash in the policy. So that savings account is a higher interest rate and it grows faster because they compound the money.
Correct.
That money grows faster, right? It's a factor. Like remember when we were learning exponents, y'all didn't think that exponents was going to be used in life in the future, right? So compound interest is like the exponents, right? 2 squared, 3 cubed, etc. And so it grows your cash faster. As a matter of fact, I'm a living witness that works. Let me tell you why. I think a year before last, whatever, some stuff was happening, and I needed some cash, man. I needed some cash. Guess where I went?
Right to your life insurance.
And I'm just in my 40s. I'm just turned 40 in November. So I'm not old, and my policy had enough for me to draw over $10,000 out of it.
And the great thing about that, and I don't want to steal your thunder. Talk about the payment back to the account, how it's not, a lot of people have, and I'm not disrespecting 401ks, but if you pull out money, you penalties and stuff like that. When in your life insurance, when you borrow against it, can you talk about that process and how you would put that $10,000 back if you even wanted to put back the $10,000?
If you put it back, so because the beautiful thing about it, because the policy grows in cash value, right? As long as you keep paying your premium, the cash value is going to grow, and that cash value can pay the bill, the interest on it to the insurance company for you. So if you choose to pay, it'll be good for you, because if you're young enough, you want to put that money back in so you can grow, so you can use it when you need it. I'm not encouraging anybody to take the money out early. The point of it is retirement. I just used one of my policies to benefit a deal I needed to make, and so I pulled it out, and now I'm able to put the cash back in, and without a penalty, and I didn't pay any lost interest, because the cash value was paying the interest for the year while I was using the money.
Correct.
Who ever heard of somebody paying your interest while you invest in your money? So I pulled $10,000 out. Actually, it was 13 and change, right? Pulled the money out, did a deal, right? Now I'm getting the money back, but it took me about a little over a year to get the money back. So now, guess what I just did? Wrote a check, boom, put it back in the account. And then while I was using it, the policy premium paid the interest. That's rich people stuff versus regular people.
And it's called, a lot of rich guys use that life insurance as a banking system.
It's a great way because guess what? As long as you got the money in there, ain't nobody gonna say no to you. The insurance company not saying no, ain't no penalty, and as long as you can keep paying your interest. So if you start to think of go back to the business, we talk about LLC. If you start to think of a business as a job now, all of a sudden you got a job, right? Yes. And all you got to do is keep figuring out how to create cash in, and you take the difference of the cash that you're using, that you make money on, right? The profit, to grow your future, to save for your retirement, right? So now Social Security, cool, but I got my own bread. And the difference with the 401k is, it's good if someone else is helping you to grow it.
Yeah.
Right? So 401k, the only time we'll say, listen, do that 401k is if somebody's matching what you're contributing. Right? Because, free money is free money. Exactly. And what you do is we teach people how to roll it over without a penalty and put it into a vehicle that will yield you capital. Right. So you could take out, if you spend 30 years, 20 years, whatever, and you got a little cash in your 401k, and now you're leaving that job or you're retiring when you get to that age. But listen, if I ask you guys, what age you plan on retiring, what number, what would you say?
Me is probably 3 more years. I'll be for like 45.
But 45, right? What age do you think you would do?
Man, I'm trying to shoot between 55 and 60.
There you go. How about let's do like Marlon? Let's do 45, brother. Why not? Right?
Yeah.
So let's figure out ways that we can grow cash legitimately, legally, fast, compound the cash. And now this is just one means, right? We're stuck on here. We don't have to need stuck here. But
this is good, man.
The question as to how what you're saying of when you say, well, how do you help somebody? And you use the number is $150,000. So, that's cool. But if you got a job that's paying you $150, it's easy for you to create a budget and slice it up and, okay, I'm going to put some here, some here. I want to help the person, guy or gal, that ain't got $150 to slice up. You paying rent $1,000, $2,000, whatever your rent is. In my world, a different grand, but but there's a lot. Listen, New York City has, Manhattan alone, 4 million people, right, or more. COVID, they done dropped down to maybe 3 million.
And it needed to happen. They're saying New York is going to die because people moving out. No, New York needed some people to leave.
I ain't gonna say that. I'll let you say that. That's crazy. You in the military, so you safe to say stuff like that, right? But the point is, people are here and they're trying to figure out how to pay their bills, how to make money, during tough times. Yeah. Right. So you want to show someone, or they got laid off or whatever. You want to show somebody how they can look. You buy low, sell high, and keep the difference.
Yeah.
Right, or invest the difference, or save the difference. Right. So that's the opportunity you can. But you can do any kind of business. You could do a dishwashing service for restaurants. You ever thought about that?
Yeah.
Creating a dishwashing service I just made that up, by the way. But the point of it is, you could find a need that somebody has and fill the need. You ever walk down the street and somebody who's, whether you want to call them a bum or a homeless person or whatever, ask you to borrow money? I mean, not borrow. Ask you for a donation, $1. Can I get $1 so I can get some food? And you be like, or the one that asked you for $20 because they trying to get a room tonight. Yeah, like, man. Do you know that New York City is one of the only cities in the world, or in the country at a minimum, that actually look out for its homeless or people who are disadvantaged?
I didn't know that.
So you just choosing it because you don't want to. So that means you got a brain, you have intellect, and I notice your nails are clean. That means you ain't that homeless, right? So that means you could use your brain to go ask these stores, can you please get your squeegee? And if they would pay you $10 to clean their windows for them.
There you go.
And start a business.
Yeah.
Right. So you could do a business with anything, man. Literally, one last scenario. I'm down the street, and I thought this only happened in Florida. So I parked down by Water Street, and I'm going to the car, get the car, and I see a Spanish dude. Hey, and he's got his truck. He got a compressor, and he got a big old water gallon in the back of his truck, his van.
Yeah.
He got the seal, got a pump, got the hose, and this dude got a compressor between the big water tank. The barrel they send to Caribbean, the ship stuff? Yeah. One of those barrels. You got a compressor in between it, and he washing cars in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Come on, son. Come on.
Yeah.
If he can do that,
Yeah.
mobile car wash, I thought that was only in Florida, brother.
Yeah.
So
You're right.
you could do anything and make some money. Find a need, meet the need, and make some money with it. You know,
man, I like what you're saying there, man. You know, some people, I don't know what it is. Some people are not able to identify needs and identify creative ways so that they can, you know, explore, you know, making a job out of it or making a career out of it or whatever, picking up some money off of it. You know, can you give them some like just tips on how to think outside the box, how to think, not even outside the box, but see things that people won't normally see
every day?
Yeah. What are some thoughts on that?
To me, I think, you know, sometimes I'll talk to people or young people that I meet, and I'll say, well, what do you like to do? What do you enjoy doing? Y'all love basketball. All right, you any good? No, not really. All right, but you like basketball. So why don't you figure out what you can do with the things that you like? So you can be a basketball supplier, branded basketball supplier. Yeah. You ain't never have to buy the ball, right? You go to the team that's you know, the community team. I'm talking about NFL. I mean NFL. You know, NBA. I'm talking about community teams, right? Go to community leagues, you know, schools, whatever the situation is, right? You can literally go to them and go, hey, listen, you know, do you guys need balls for your practice, for your teams? Yeah. Okay, cool. You go to a wholesaler and go, wholesaler. How much for a ball if I buy one, and how much for it if I buy 10 or a dozen, 12? Okay, cool. So you'll give me 40% off, 30% off, 20% off if I buy 12 versus that. So go to them and go, listen, the minimum for our company, you know, we branded, put your name on it, your team, your school name on it, is 12.
Yep.
Matter of fact, the price for 12 is $10, and you know, and we charge a setup fee, right, of $3 per ball. I just moved you up. Yeah. Right. So $5, maybe let's say it's $5 margin from the retail price to the wholesale price, and then you add a little service charge to help them make this happen. They don't have to spend the time trying to figure it out. You do. You didn't put no money up, and you get, okay, cool, get the order. All right, go. We require a deposit. Or a full payment up front, and then you go and you do it. If they don't know you, then okay, we require a deposit. So, you know, 50% down. You go and pay for the product. And then bring the product and get your bounce. Ta-da! You made money. And then all you gotta do now is repeat that.
The thing, Jeremy, that I think this aside, there's two factors, right? So a lot of us been trained only, and I'm not saying school is bad, to only go to school, get that 9 to 5 and work. And it's more safe for a lot of people. That's one factor I want you to talk about, the difference of the entrepreneur's mindset compared to that 9 to 5. And then the second thing is that a lot of people, what they're doing, they're looking on Instagram, they're seeing what everybody's doing that's popping, and then they're going into a market that's saturated. And
trying to do what they're doing.
Exactly what they're doing. So talk about those two things, the 9 to 5 guy versus the entrepreneur and how they navigate through life, and all about that need that you're talking about, that how they got to take themselves out of a mindset to just go to a saturated market.
I mean, you know what's cool, before you get to the 9 to 5 thing, while I'm thinking of it, Steve Harvey does it best, right? Steve Harvey has these motivational videos you listen to on YouTube or whatever. And I hear him talking about, you know, do the thing you're good at, right? You cut hair, then figure out how to cut hair and make money doing it, right? You fry chicken, you fry the best chicken you can fry.
Yeah.
Right? Colonel Sanders fried chicken. But it ain't just Colonel Sanders. I mean, but you can fry some good chicken, freeze it, package it, and sell it to the supermarket and call it the Colonel's, you know, Jamaican chicken.
Yeah.
Right? So what he says is do what you like and you can get money doing it, right? He mentioned all kinds of examples, you know, the guy who's cutting grass, you know, and now he just cuts lots of grass and he has guys working for him and he makes $4 million a year cutting grass. You do. Right? The lady who makes pies, right? Sarah Lee Pies or whatever it's called, right? It was a black woman it wasn't Sarah Lee, whatever those pies, Madam something pies, right? And she was working at a diner, the diner about to go under, and she needed her job. So she baked a pie because she knows how to bake pies for the diner, because he was running out of food, money. People loved the pie. They bought it. She made 4 more the next week. So forth and so on. The story's ended. She now in supermarkets. Right? So do what you like. And you can make money doing it. The 9 to 5 thing is interesting because I don't know that it's wrong, because everybody's not cut out to be an entrepreneur.
Correct.
Everybody's not cut, and everybody can't be the boss.
Yes.
But you know what you can do? You can be an amazing boss supporter
Mm-hmm.
and still get crazy dough because somebody has to be entrepreneurial. And what does being entrepreneurial? Entrepreneurial is not, a guy who creates a business. Entrepreneurial is a person who takes, to me, this is some Jeremy stuff, right? Entrepreneurial is the person who takes the risk of doing something somebody else was not willing to do and doing it well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? To me, entrepreneurship is taking a risk, doing something somebody else is not willing to do. So if you had a job, you could be an entrepreneur on the job. Right? You could do something somebody else say, how did you get the promotion? You decided to take a test that most people won't decide to do. That's why everybody ain't a sergeant major.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everybody, the whole platoon is a sergeant major because they would all take a test, do whatever they gotta do, impress whoever so they can get the promotion.
Yeah.
Right. So that's to me is that, I mean, everybody is not cut out to be an entrepreneur, but everybody's cut out to be amazing at something unique that you have. And by being amazing at that, you will get money. You will get rewarded. You will get compensated on a high level. That's, I mean, I know it may not be the exact answer you want to get.
No, it's perfect. Yeah.
It's perfect.
I've always wanted to hit that point, man, because a lot of times you hear everybody, YouTube right now, you go on YouTube right now, everybody's telling you how you better go get your own company.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I like the point that you brought up with a 9-to-5 compared to an entrepreneur, is that sometimes you yourself have to tell the guy that wants to be an entrepreneur, listen, brother, I don't think you're cut out to be an entrepreneur starting your own company. This is where you're doing well at. And as a person that guides people, I think sometimes that those hard truths are meant to be told. And when you put it the way you were saying it, you could still be an entrepreneur in your job. Mm-hmm. Don't think that just because you have a job, a 9-to-5, you could still end up being, not everybody wants to go to the top, or the people that want to go to the top are very selected and few. You just have to be the best. So your boss is.
And what your thing is, and watch this. And the thing is with the job thing, right? The difference, someone very close to me, who's older, could be our parents, right? Said to me, oh man, I wish that I had done so-and-so and so-and-so, but it was still a job. She didn't move into something else that her sister did. And she's like, man, I wish that I had done at least what my sister did. Yeah. Right? Her sister working too, but at least the company that she went to had a pension, and then she didn't have a pension. And so she was like, man, I wish I had done that. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm listening, I'm like, wow, that person, was a great worker, an amazing, incredible person at their job. Right. And they actually liked what they do, but they just didn't make courageous decisions. They were comfortable, right? They were afraid, right? All those different things. And so because of those things, everybody's not a risk taker.
Correct.
And so stepping up and doing what somebody else is not willing to do requires risk, because somebody could shut you down. But man, more than likely, someone's going to cheer you on it or thank you for stepping up and doing the thing. Now, the people around you may talk about you, may judge you or measure you, but you're not really worried about them because they're in the same boat you in. And if you're not happy where you are, and this is where I believe a person can use to gauge. You ever go to a store and the person is just treating you like crap?
Yeah.
Oh, here's your thing. I'm like, you're the worst cash register in the world. Exactly. If you don't like your job, quit.
Yeah, exactly.
Quit.
Exactly.
Right? Because you know what? The senior cash register, you know what? We know why she's the senior cash register? Because she likes her job.
Yep.
She loves what she does. Whatever the thing is that you do, if you love it, excel in it. Do amazing at it. Treat people like they're amazing so that you can excel or thrive. And somebody will see your good work. There's a scripture, right? I won't be all church, but there's a scripture that says, right? You show
the light so shine before men. Yeah.
So when God sees your good work, well, that principle is physically here.
Correct. Yeah.
That principle, they say the word come to flesh. So for me, the word becomes flesh all day, every day, man. It's so when you do amazing things, someone will see your good work and you will get glorified. The glory will shine on you. You'll get a promotion. You'll get a job offer. You get an opportunity offer. You will feel better.
Yes. The
word becomes flesh.
Yeah, there is a word that I coined a little while ago, corporatepreneur, for the 9-to-5s that had that entrepreneurial mindset. So I haven't really said that publicly yet. So
oh wow, all right, cool. Well, listen, that little TM on it. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Hey, listen, everybody out there who's watching, my man right here just put it out. So it belongs to him, Mr. Rick. Yeah. You got his TM next to corporatepreneur, so don't be trying to steal it. You're gonna file the trademark soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And
you have the copyrights to it.
Exactly.
This record here documents it.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
Absolutely, man. Copywriting is another thing. Most people don't realize the power of copyright. The power. You can copyright anything, man. Anything. You if you drew, like you said, that word, you can write that word on paper and file a copyright. $35. Now, fine, you may not know how to rate the categories and all that stuff. If you can read, Google it, it's there, or you can find an expert to do it for you. Right? You can always call me. Call me. I got you. You know what I'm saying? But shameless plug, right?
Yeah.
Artworksincubator.com. Legal attorneys being trained to help people to learn how to protect their intellectual property. But the point of it is you can use copyright to make a living. So you can have a regular job. You can be a writer, right? And I think we've seen enough TV shows. I love TV. I love pop culture because it'll show you the way. Or at least the way somebody else did it and found success.
Explain that.
Right? Well, because like if you watch certain TV shows, the most recent one I can think of quickly off the top of my head is the new what's the guy on CBS, Hawaii 5-0. The new, not Hawaii 5-0. What's the other one with Hawaii in it? The guy who's oh man. But all right, so the context is in the show. Oh, here we go. NCIS. Here's a good example. NCIS, right? The regular NCIS. Right, McGee is the guy who's like the little dorky tech guy. Well, while McGee is working as a tech guy, which he actually gets paid, average as a federal agent, he writes books. So he was writing stories about the crazy experiences that they were having on their job. Like, oh my God, the body floating on top of the building, terrorism, blah, blah, blah. So he wrote this thing, Deep Six something, this book, and it's published. And it's dope, it's selling out, and he created an alias. And while he's working his regular job, he's making paper off of his publishing. Off of his books. So if you are a person who have a job and you don't need to take a risk and quit, right? And forget, put your whole life on the line. You got family. Some people got families. And you know what? You could be an entrepreneur all in your heart, but you still got to pay the bills, right? You got to pay the rent. Your wifey is not going to be, no, quit what? How you gonna pay these bills? How you gonna pay the rent? Right? Women are quick to do that. Black, white, Spanish, Indian, they don't give a crap. What culture you are. Women just want to know how's the rent getting paid, how's the mortgage getting paid, how's the car note getting paid, how's groceries going on, right? So you can, while you're there doing the responsible thing, you can be corporatepreneur. You can start figuring out what things could I protect and then use to make a living while I'm doing my job. You can write a book and put it on an ebook and put it online. Right. And collect royalties. So so you could be very innovative while working and make your way. And now you can make a lateral move, right? Because after you start to make enough money saved up, they said you want to have 6 months worth of, now with the pandemic, you definitely need a year and a half worth of money saved up for your annual, for your household expenses. But they used to say 6 months of what it costs to maintain your lifestyle, right? In savings, right? So, in the new era, pandemic era, you want to make sure you saved up, at least 12 months worth of cash in your account so you can live for a year if you didn't have a job.
Correct.
Once you've done that, that means your business has made enough money where you could make a lateral move and replicate what you did with the first one without like losing your hair. I'm gray because I take a lot of risks. I'm just telling you. I mean,
talk about the pandemic and you've been on Wall Street. So of course, even though the pandemic happened, Wall Street is still booming. So we understand that. But explain how you're tackling the pandemic and also how you're helping your clients to tackle the pandemic, because, being New York that is closed down, or I know you do it internationally or nationally, but just walk us through that.
Well, I will say, I'm blessed and I'm thankful that I was able to come to work every day despite the shutdown. When they was like, it was like, look, we shutting it down and there's a curfew. We right in here grinding.
Yeah.
And so because we believe that we were frontline workers too, in the sense of helping those businesses figure out what to do. There's a restaurant that I was working with that he didn't really do online, right? You got takeout and he's at a nice restaurant. And, sometimes people would do catering orders online, but he didn't have an e-commerce set up. He didn't have any of those things. And so we had to figure out how to help him convert his restaurant system, which even his point of sale system did not do online. It was the weirdest thing. So people need to learn when they're making buying decisions or business decisions, when they're buying merchant accounts and things like that, to consider all those options, right? So in the restaurant industry or the quick service industry, we were able to help people convert or pivot their services, right? I was doing on my Instagram, I did a lot of, I think, I saw Marlon hitting me up for a couple of different ones. I did a lot of messages posting, going back to the entrepreneur thing, for people who you had got laid off or your business shut down and you're home. And I was like, man, there's a ton of stuff you could do. You could become, the pickup drop-off person, right? The concierge service provider. Put your mask on, put your gloves on, and go out into the dangerous world and provide a service and be paid for that service during the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? You could, PPE wholesaling. You know what I mean? You could become a PPE supplier. During the pandemic. So there was a lot of things that you could do that really it allowed a lot of people to change. Some people fell and cried, woe is me.
Yes.
Many other individuals, I think they made something like 8 billionaires, I think, was made during the pandemic, right? Amazon became an extra gazillionaire just because of it. Right?
Even Elon Musk became the richest man during the pandemic. Right.
So the question is, where do you sit when things start happening? They say that you get to know a person, you really understand them when things get crazy, right? Yes. Things get tough. Do they fall apart or do they pull up their sleeves, roll up their sleeves, pull up their pants and go, you know what? I'm gonna figure this thing out. And for many, that's what they call it, play full out in some of the leadership training places, or Steve Harvey called it jump out of the plane without a parachute, or, for many, it does require success, or the journey to success does require you having no safety net, no crutch, literally you jumping out, right? The pandemic was a good example of there was no safety net, right? I mean, I remember with the unemployment scenario, right? That certain people who are entrepreneurs or self-employed, they didn't get no unemployment because they weren't necessarily paying unemployment taxes as an employee.
Yes.
Right? It wasn't until they figured out how to do the pandemic feature or whatever the thing is, it allowed some of those people to actually benefit. I myself was like, well, how do I benefit from some of that? Right? Because I wasn't paying unemployment. So a lot of people was getting $600 staying at home. Man, that was a great time to take that $600 because some people were getting a paycheck anyway. Take the $600 and invest in a business, create something.
Yes.
Right? Now, I will say one thing. I will say this one thing. You can create a company and not necessarily do business. Right? So people, create an LLC, do what the necessary things is to set it up, even if you're not a business person, if you're not an entrepreneur. One, maybe your kid will grow up and do it. Or two, down the line, an opportunity like this may come up and you can leverage having that entity and it will be seasoned. Right? So life has so many different ways that you can go. And it's for people to realize what it is. And another thing, right now, for people who are in real estate or wanting to get in real estate without money, but you got good credit, now is a great time because there's a lot of people who are in challenging situations and you can actually do your own version of a bailout, right? That's a little bit more involved, but there's so many ways today, during the pandemic era, that individuals can change their lives starting tomorrow, starting right away, starting right now, and then tomorrow, have a new path, have a new outlook. And there's so much information that's readily available that you have no excuse to say, I don't know how. Right? If you got a smartphone, most broke people got smartphones. You broke what you got a smartphone. You pay other bills, but you paying that cell phone bill, right?
Right.
So take the thing, if it's a Google, right? You push the little Google icon and go, okay, Google, how do I? The damn thing talks back to you. You on the iPhone, right? Siri, okay? Siri, how do I do this in New York? How do I file an LLC in New York? You don't need to go you don't need to go ask nobody else. Ask your phone. My phone listening to you every day and logging everything you're doing.
That's a title for our this podcast.
All right.
The title was what?
This episode, Ask Your Phone.
Yep, ask your phone. I like that. The crazy thing, Ricky, is that somebody will see Jeremy, right? And say, because now you have all the gurus that's saying what you're saying, right? And they will say, oh man, Jeremy just got on the wave. But they don't understand he's been thinking this way ever since I know him, right? And I've been in the military 18 years, so I've been away from, so I knew him even before that. So he's always been this way. And when you were trying to tell people about this kind of stuff, they weren't really catching on.
Listening.
You were the hustle man, Jamaican, da-da-da-da.
What is this guy talking about?
Right? So what's this guy talking about? I must pay him for a service. What kind of company he has? He's just trying to get in my pocket, right? So I love that you're still on that track and that you're preaching this message. But I think other than just for people being on the wave, to actually sit down and actually go through with you the step-by-step that you're talking about and how you have them set up, because you're talking about a business, how you could still be in your job and succeed, how to set up your life insurance, how to do all these different things that you can, it could be something that gives you more of a cushion when it comes to that financial. And also the number one thing that I like that you talk about, doing what you love.
Yeah, you got to do what you love.
Yeah.
And by the way, life insurance is also an easy way. Real estate, life insurance, but life insurance is even easier than real estate.
Yeah.
Life insurance, all you need in New York State, you don't even got to do life and health. You can just do life insurance, right? $40 gets you sometimes they do sales. $25 gets you the online course, right? You study the course, you get a 70, you pass. And if you fail, try again until you pass, right? While you're doing your McDonald's job or your corporate job, whatever job it is. And then you can then take the test, I think for $40. Now in New York State, it's online. Take the test, get you a license, hang your license with a broker dealer. That's easy to find. Hit me up if you don't know how, right? My buddy Loyan Mensa from Maris, our homie, right? He's a broker dealer. He'll help you out, right? But the idea is, hang your license with a broker. You ain't got to go to college. You ain't got to be an expert. You ain't got to know math. You ain't got to know nothing. $40 and you can start making six figures.
Yep.
Just by following somebody's guidance. So there's so many ways, to do it. I mean, I was throwing that in there since you mentioned the life insurance. Yeah. But absolutely, man. Here's what the gurus are not saying. And I was saying this to my boy Loyan, because he's saying to me, Jay, all these years you've been doing all this stuff. You know mad stuff. You need to be on the social media telling people. That's why I started doing it recently. You need to be on social media telling people how to do this stuff, what to do, blah, blah, blah. Here's what's different about what I do versus what they're saying in the gurus. Now, I need to master what the gurus are doing so more people can hear my message. Mm-hmm. What the gurus aren't saying, they're telling you, it's easy to get an LLC. It damn sure is. It's easy to get funding. Sort of. It's easy to start preparing to. But if you don't know that you need to have financial statements, right? If you don't know that you need to have deposits in the account, all these alleged, lines of credit that they're telling you can get easy money is not really so easy if you don't do certain steps in between. And what's going to happen is you're only going to learn through either trial or error, right? Losing a lot to then learn, or find somebody that knows how to do it that will help you on your way.
Correct.
And that's the difference. Yeah. And I charge the person who is capable of paying the big money, and I will help the person who is at this moment, not sure that they have the resources. Right? I know you got the resources. I know the resources is out there waiting for you. So I help the person who's not sure they have the resources to pay it. Right? Get started.
Yep.
And I show them how they can come back and write me a check. I have a man who is a senior person from Beulah, right? He's a deacon at our church, and he retired early. Talk about retiring at 50 years old, right? I said, man, you an old school G. You've been doing this for a long time. Buy a Benz, sell your house, buy a Benz. You deserve it. Anyway, he moved to North Carolina. I've worked with Fortune 500 companies: McDonald's, Hertz, Procter & Gamble's products, M&M, Pepsi. I work on all kinds of national brands. And out of all these people who wrote me checks, this man is one of my favorite clients. And, the reason is nobody has ever come back after I've done something for them amazing and still say, hey, you know what? Here's a dividend from what you did, man. I shot one commercial for this guy, told him how to set up his business, create it, protect it, get his website going, set him up. And the same commercial has been yielding him calls over and over. Matter of fact, I just bought his company a couple of months ago. He's retiring for the second time. One commercial still sends him customers over and over. And every now and then, he used to pop up to my office in Poughkeepsie and he used to bring me a check. I'd be in a meeting and he was like, I just want to speak to you. Pardon me. And he would slide me a check right in front of my client. It would be the easiest way for me to get somebody. And I'll be like, what is this? He's like, call me. And then we'll talk and he's like, man, thanks, man. This is somebody else that you sent to me without me running the ad, man. Thank you. And so that's to me the greatest compliment someone can do is refer you business or write you a check that you ain't asked them provide a service for.
Man.
Oh wow,
yeah, Jerry, man, you go ahead, Marlon.
There's one more I want you to touch on because like you said, there's different people on the spectrum. You have somebody that is down here that you said you're. And Rick and I talk about this all the time. Like you have the guy that says, hey, I'm going to help you in real estate, but they want you to buy their program for like $12,000. And then you're like, but that's all the money I saved. So now you're back at square one, right? So we have those people down there, but you have somebody that's going to come on the show right now that has 5 houses. They have a couple of different things. And I heard you mention something that I want you to touch on just a little bit because I don't want you to give us too much information so they don't need you. Let's talk about that trust that you're talking about.
Well, what is it specifically about trust?
If I have multiple properties, I own a company, I know that I'm going to have to pass away and I want to pass this to my kids. I want to give this to my kids, but sometimes you have 5 houses, you give it to the kids. As soon as you die, they sell it, they all sell it. And now they're back at square one and you want to set up that generational wealth. Talk about how you utilize that trust to ensure that generational wealth continues.
Well, there's no one word answer or one fixed solution, right? Everybody's situation, let me add my disclaimer, right? Everybody's situation is unique. Yeah. So that's an important piece to start with. However, the gist of a trust has been being used from ages, right? The Carnegies, the Vanderbilts, right? You see the guy on CNN with the white hair, what's his name?
Cooper.
Anderson Cooper is an adopted kid who benefits from a trust.
Yeah.
You adopted and you benefit from the trust, right? Yeah. So what a trust does, a trust is like another vehicle, another person, another entity that has its own sets of rules and regulations, and it almost does not exist. It only exists with probably 2 places, sort of, right? The bank, right? And the IRS, sort of. Mm-hmm. Right, the bank and you, or your lawyer, or the person who created it for you, are the only 2 organizations that actually know the details of that document. You want to know why J.P. Morgan Chase is the place to do. Let me not say Chase. You want to know why J.P. Morgan is the place to do wealth management with? Is because they're one of the most preferred places to rest your trust with. Right, you can rest your trust with J.P. Morgan, right? They get in trouble all the time, man, but they're not playing. They're not. No, we don't know what you're talking about. Right? Yeah. But creating a trust allows you to move assets into the trust, right? And now the trust owns that asset, so it can be used in many different scenarios. I mean, you use it specifically about passing away, but there's living trusts.
Yes.
Right. So as you guys are young men that have families or building families or plan to, right? Mm-hmm. So you can start to set that up now, right? You may also have parents who own homes and they're becoming seasoned, and if in case they need long-term health care, right? And you don't want to necessarily cash out all of your 401k or your insurance to take care of them. Well, you can move the home into the trust, right? Mm-hmm. My mom, even in their life insurance, I own my mom's life insurance. I'm the owner of her life insurance. Mm. And what it did for me, right? Gotta love mamas, right? It allowed me to increase my asset. So when I go to the bank and I fill out my profit and loss and they ask you about your assets, like your net worth, my net worth has increased significantly to the value of the life insurance policy that I own.
Yes.
Now I own a couple of them now, but the point is when I first did that, I was able to do that. So then what you do is you move your parents' asset into the vehicle, the trust. And now if you need long-term care services legally, this is not like on the table, this is known. You're now able to, you fall within the right parameters that your parents that can be cared for, the state can do their share. They owe you, so the state can do their share of taking care of your senior loved one. You can also use a trust because trusts are taxed differently. So if you have, you mentioned having lots of real estates, houses or properties, you can use a trust to help you manage your tax responsibility. I used to say liability, and I stopped that. CPA says stop saying that because it's not liability, it's a responsibility, right? If it wasn't for taxes, I don't want to defund the police because nigga, I'm calling them when you right. So I want them to have money, but I just want them to be right. Do the right thing, right? Fire the ones that's rednecks and not doing right, and put the right people in there. And there's black rednecks too. We ain't get into that. But the point of it is that you can move your homes into that, and you can manage your tax liability because the trust is taxed differently than is an individual or entities. If you're trying to protect your asset from other people, people are nosy, right? People try to look up my company app. Oh, let me find what he do, right? Let me find who owns this, who owns that, and they'll try to look you up. Well, there are ways to layer your organization, and a trust is also another way to do that. To where you just wipe your information off of assets, and the trust is a tool that will help to do that legally. Yeah.
Hey, I don't want you to give too much because I want those people that you say can pay that cost. I want them to come to you because they're like, man, this guy have a wealth of knowledge.
I want all of your military buddies, man. Y'all, all these military people are good. They got good credit for most of them. Right, because I got money. Y'all, all y'all do is work. Well, y'all better have good credit, right? I mean, you have to have good credit.
You have to, because of your certain clearances and stuff.
Clearance, right? So that means you can buy assets, right? You can buy homes. So I've quite many friends from high school that are now at your stage where they're either going to leave the military, and I'm like, listen, y'all got to talk to me. Come on, let's talk. Yeah, let's get you to protect your assets. Let's get you to pool your resources. One of the number one. And I'm going to start finding ways to say this more. I don't understand why it never happened. Years ago, Bill Cosby was trying to buy NBC or something like that. They said that's why they took us down, right? And people like Oprah and Robert Townsend, those guys, they were supposed to come together, and they never did, right? If they had pooled their little money and come together, they could have bought NBC, right? They could have done that a long time ago. Or forget bought, be like Oprah and create a network.
Correct.
Right? I mean, what's his name? Bob Johnson only became a billionaire when he sold what he had, right? Yeah. So, you got people like that. Well, today you got NBA players. I was in the barbershop last night, and the man was like, yo, look up where, I forgot the dude. I'm not really an NBA pro, but this brother makes $577,000 per game. $577,000 per game. Man, you can't spend that much money, man.
They'll find a way to do it.
No,
bro. 80 games, right? 80 games. So let's do it really quickly. I know you said you want to end. I want to show this. It's 577,000, right?
Yeah.
Per game times 82, right? It's $46,160,000 for 80 games, whatever, a season, right? Yeah. Even a year, a season. So when you make that money, and then everybody, I know everybody doesn't get that paid that high, but the other brother that makes $4 or $5 million, and the other brother that makes 10, and so forth and so on. If they pool their money, they can become just as powerful.
Most of these
of a hedge fund, of a investment group, of a whatever. And if
we have to bring you back to talk about the hedge funds and all that stuff too, man.
Yeah, we can circle back and do that, because the thing is, you can make a hedge fund without a whole lot of millions of dollars. By the way, most people don't really know that, right? We can make us three can create a small hedge fund and start investing. By the way, I am investing in small beauty businesses, fashion beauty businesses, and I'm helping them to take the products, especially from the Caribbean, from where they're making them, I'm working on placing them in stores, and then we're going to help them to scale those businesses. That's what I am doing that right now. Right. But the point I'm making is they could cut their money in half, in thirds, and still invest in places, grow those businesses into $1 million businesses, and quadruple their own net worth.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. I wish more individuals would do things like that. And I'll put my own church group on blast. I gave them credit in the beginning, but I'll put them on blast now. We're very few Black people, church people, get to amass a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Correct. And in that church, when you go to the parking lot, Jeremy, you'll see the 500 Benz. You'll see a 7 Series. You'll probably see a Porsche. You'll see all this, and individually they have some kind of wealth, but they don't understand about what you're talking about when they come together. And you, like you said, start that hedge fund. There's so much trajectory.
I think you said it for me. So all of us we can look at them and we can be like, oh, they the NBA players, they the this one and that one. Yeah. But we don't have to look at they. I'm just using that as an example. We didn't gotta look at they. Yeah. We can look at us.
Yes.
Us as in $10,000, right? You put two, five of us put $2,000, you got 10, and then every month you put $50 in the account, right? And grow it. And then take your money and lend it to the guy who has an order that can make some money, but unfortunately don't have enough cash. Lend it to them, let them make some money and take a profit. And do it again and again. You will break Black poverty yourself. And it ain't no Black poverty, but what I'm saying is the people who are challenged, who are having roadblocks. Because there's so many Black millionaires and billionaires. There ain't no Black poverty. It's just not enough people hearing about them.
Yeah, you're right.
Dude, man. Right. Yo, Jeremy, man, we got to stop you, man. Man, listeners, you guys got a wealth of knowledge.
Tonight, and he's coming back. He's going to
come back. Man, I hope you stop this right now or after I do my outro. Stop it, rewind it, go back to the top and listen to this again, because, we went from how to think about starting a business. We went from trademarks. We went from a little bit in the promotion industry. We went from how to find the gaps. Then we went to insurance, and we went to real estate, and we went to trust. Jeremy, man, some people specialize in one area, and they'll talk to you about one area, man. But the versatility that you have to be able to bounce between different areas, man, is just a testament of how you have embraced this idea of whatever comes to your mind, really dive in and go wholeheartedly at it. And just create what you want out of that space for yourself, for your family, for your community, man. And we just really appreciate, just a little bit of time that you share with us today, man, just sharing what your journey has looked like so far and giving us just a taste of kind of where you're going based off the mindset that you have here. And all of our travelers that are out there around the world, listen, I want to give Jeremy an opportunity right now to share his information so that you guys can reach out to him, can follow about more of these topics in general, whether it be website, contact number, whatever, social media, whatever you want to share with them, man. Go ahead and share that now.
No, I appreciate it, man. And guys, I'm happy to just talk about this stuff anytime, man, because, it was somebody that sold into me. It was somebody that told me about, the government procurement. The man I told you about, that was in Charlotte. It was somebody that told me those things. I didn't choose entrepreneurship; it actually chose me, right? So some people said, "Oh, I'm gonna work for the man." I ain't never said that. Actually, it would have been nice to stay in corporate, right? I didn't choose that path; it chose me, and so I don't have that story. I don't have the story that, oh, I hated this and it was so horrible and I couldn't do it, just couldn't do it. No, I loved working in advertising agencies. I loved it. My mentors, the people who are in there. But somebody saw fit to tell me about something, and I just honored what they told me, and I did it. And so by doing it, you get the results. And it's not easy.
No.
Correct.
It ain't easy. I'm not telling you that there's a magic thing. What I am telling you is that what I will tell you is I have freedom. Mm-hmm. And freedom is so much power, and it's wonderful.
Yes.
That's the number one thing I have is, freedom to do these things, to create. And so if someone wants to reach out to me, man, it's easy. Jeremy Stennett, Google me.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
You spell my name, Jeremy, Stennett. Put it in Gmail. But if you're on Instagram, it's Jeremy Stinnett on Instagram. I'm just learning the Instagram thing. I don't do it well enough. Facebook, same thing. Literally, all you got to do is put my name in a browser or put my name in the search engine for Instagram or for Facebook. I'm there. And 646-499-6992. That's not one of those text numbers that people be making up. They'll text me and it really them. It's my actual number to my office. It rings. Sometimes I answer. You know what I mean? I'm walking by somebody's phone and they're not picking it up. I pick it up. Hey, can I help you? So we're happy to help, man. I want my people to win. Not only do I want my people to win, I want my people to thrive. And you are my people. Everyone that wants better than where they were yesterday, are my people. And I want everybody to win, man.
Love it.
Thanks for having me, and I enjoyed chatting with y'all. I look forward to doing more.
Yes. We're definitely gonna have to have you back for part 2 because, like Ricky said, we covered an array of topics, and I know some people are going to be like, "Can you have him expound more on this?" And you also had people mind jogging. So, man, I loved it. I enjoyed it. And we're definitely going to have you back, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool, man. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. Appreciate it. I look forward to getting a copy of this, and I can play it back to see all these wonderful things I said.
We'll send you a shirt. I'm going to text you or send me your address. And when that thing work for you here, send it my way, brother. I'll definitely purchase.
I'm gonna tell her she got 2 sales. So Rick, he don't need it.
No, I don't need it yet.
Yeah. He still got the waves, everything like that.
Waves and everything. And you don't take care of his hair to have that kind of wave.
Oh my gosh, man! You don't put the wave cap on at night, brother.
You don't do none of that
stuff, man. Nah, man.
No, want to can't get to no
Got the can't
Nah, man. The wave caps give me headaches, man. I don't do that, man.
I used to have hair like yours, brother. I used to be on the salon window. All right, just so you know. That's how I got popular when I was a kid. You know what I mean? They were like, "Yo, you the barbershop guy, right?"
Yeah.
So
way back then. Yeah. But travelers, man, thanks so much for being with us again for another episode of the Success Journey Show, and we'll be with you next week at the same time, same place. All right, everyone, have a good one. Peace.
One love.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.